Cara Thomas is with Spectrum News, and of course the trial of the Conley trial is Caitlin Conley is underway. This is trial number 2, and yesterday it was the victim's son speaking out, and Cara's on the line with us right now. Good morning.
Hi, Bill. Yeah, yesterday was definitely a long day. Adam Yoders spent the entire day on the stand, and it was very emotional testimony. You had at one point Caitlin Conley burst into tears and run out of the courtroom, and at other times Adam Yoder was crying on the stand. So very, very emotional testimony yesterday from Adam Yoder.
So it is very interesting this as this all gets laid out. How about inconsistencies? Based on inconsistencies maybe from, I was talking to somebody who has been in the courtroom, and he said there are inconsistencies in the father's testimony and the victim, who was the husband, and the victim's son's testimony that could make somebody say, I'm not sure here. Do you agree with that?
Interesting, because I actually haven't seen as many inconsistencies. So it's really interesting, and maybe there are things I'm focusing on specifically that and they're focusing on something different, and so I haven't noticed those things. If anything, in this trial, the prosecution is bringing up new evidence or bringing up different things simply because, from my perspective anyway, is that the defense, has the whole time been trying to point blame at Adam Yoder,
right.
And it's been trying to basically say he is the one who's guilty of killing his mother. And so because of that, the prosecution has had to ask Adam some more questions about different things, such as this alleged rape that Caitlin Conley alleges that he committed against her in 2014. They also went into more detail about how he became sick in April of 2015, and then and some other things that they didn't even touch on during the first trial. That was what really stuck out to me.
How about the talk of the alleged rape? And it created an emotional disturbance in the courtroom.
Most definitely. Yeah, as soon as he began to talk about it and describe the text message that he received from Caitlin Conley in October, which was months after the alleged rape would have happened, according to Conley, he receives this lengthy text message just claiming that he had raped her, he choked her, and he threatened to kill her, going into very, very graphic detail. They didn't read the text message during the courtroom. But yeah, it was very, the second he started describing any of that, Conley immediately broke into tears.
And they had to take a recess, right? Because of that. Yeah. Interesting. And so Policelli, who do you think he's targeting, or is he just trying to throw out there? Obviously, this is the point in time. This is the prosecution's case. So this is the time where we all should begin to feel like, maybe she is guilty if the prosecution's case is going the way it should be going. But Policelli just keeps throwing things out there. Who do you think, is he targeting either the son or the father, or is he throwing things out there on both of them just to place a bit of doubt in the minds of the jury?
I think he's going after both of them in a way, but I think the real target is Adam this time around. First trial, it was obvious that the defense was going after William Yoder, claiming that he was the one who committed the crime and trying to really emphasize his relationship, a relationship that started just shortly after his wife died with his sister-in-law. They really, this trial, the defense they didn't really touch on that hardly at all during the cross-examination of William Yoder. To me, that was very eye-opening. But then again, there were a lot of things that I was expecting the defense to question Adam Yoder about during his cross-examination of his testimony that they didn't. So it's very interesting. I'm definitely keeping a close eye on this one.
Yeah, Cara Thomas is with the Spectrum News and is in the courtroom, and it is intriguing here, this one.
So is the idea that the alleged rape is coming up now, that they're saying he killed his mother to pin it on the ex-girlfriend as a way to make her look bad in case the rape allegation ever came up? Is that where I'm assuming that's where they're going with this, right?
No, I don't think that's what, I think the defense originally brought up the whole rape thing, brought it up a while back just to show. They're trying to show just how awful of a human being Adam Yoder is.
Yeah.
And I think that's really the purpose behind it. And what the prosecution wanted to bring out yesterday during Adam's testimony is that nothing ever happened of those rape allegations. He actually called Caitlin out at one point after seeing certain things. He had access to a backup of her phone and proving that she was sleeping with his best friend. I mean, all this other stuff. So basically, he called her out saying, "Listen, I don't think you're telling the truth. I think you're lying about this whole race thing." And then it was dropped. Nothing, according to what we heard yesterday.
Well, and they ended up being back together shortly thereafter, right? Which, by the way, after some sort of a sexual thing like this, that oftentimes does happen. You know, we see it all the time in defense of Conley, where there is something that happens. Violence, and the woman ends up back with, not to say that that's the case here. Also, how do they portray who was trying to get back with who? And I'm understanding this has been part of the back and forth testimony. Obviously, the prosecution wants us to believe that Caitlin Conley was trying to get back with Adam Yoder. The defense is saying, wait a minute, it was just the other way around. Adam Yoder was the one trying to get back with her. Which is it?
Oh, well, I think it's both. I think it's a matter of when the defense during the cross-examination, they were the ones who were really reading. I mean, they read through all of these text messages that Adam Yoder had sent Caitlin Conley, I love you, I want to text you every single day, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, they didn't read anything that Caitlin was saying back.
Right.
So once the prosecution got up during redirect, they're saying, well, during all those text messages, is Caitlin Conley reciprocating and saying, I love you back? And he's like, yes. So it's kind of a two-sided coin. It's whoever you want to, listen to there.
And what about what was found in Adam Yoder's car? Did that get into any of the discussion yesterday?
A little bit, yeah. It was kind of, you finally got the answer from Adam of why those fabric gloves, the goggles, and the mask were in his car. And according to him, they were in there because he was doing repairs on underneath his Jeep, bought the gloves to keep his hands clean, which they were covered in, you can see it in the pictures, they're covered in oil or dirt or something. And then he had a mask and goggles to keep the rust that was underneath his car from falling into his eyes. Whether or not that's true, that's Adam Yoder's testimony, and that's what he explained why those items were in his car.
Have we? Has anybody ever been on? I've been underneath the car before, and rusty stuff does come down your eyes and stuff. But I've never worn gloves. However, I do know I used to go over to the 90s in Washington Mills, and they'd always be wearing rubber gloves when they're working on the latex gloves when they're working on the car. So I guess that's all possible. Obviously, something the defense would try to poke a hole into. All right, interesting. And what's on tap for today?
Oh, no idea. I mean, there's still so much testimony that still needs to be heard on the prosecution side. I know they are pretty much going in the same order as last trial. So sometime soon, we're still expecting the investigators will all be back on the stand at some point here, I'm expecting. And then there's also Rosa Vargas, who is the woman from the Spectrum Chemicals Company where the colchicine was ordered. She has very important testimony in this case. So I'm not sure who is going today, but I know those are coming up in the near future. And
then finally on this Adam Yoder, he seems to, now he's saying he has a limited amount of experience when it comes to internet and getting into IP addresses and all of that stuff. Yet, I believe the defense is trying to say, but he had access to everybody's account. Is that true? Did that come up yesterday?
They talked a little bit about, they asked him if he had set up, actually the prosecution asked him.
Had several Gmail accounts.
Oh, email accounts.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about email accounts.
Well, no, I'm saying he had several Gmail accounts, but maybe that didn't. But the IP address, being able to get into somebody's email or into their actual computers or internet, it seems like he had some access there.
Right, because they were saying that he possibly set up the Conleys' Wi-Fi service.
Yeah.
And possibly whether or not he claims he doesn't remember whether he did that or not, and whether or not that was password protected. But if he did, then that's a possibility, maybe, that, that's how he has access to that. Because you may remember that the prosecution is pointing out that that's where that Gmail account that ordered the colchicine, that was one of the computers where that was accessed from that account.
Interesting.
And then, they did talk about her phone. How much access did he have to her phone? And he said that he really just would use it on occasion if his phone was dead. He never had long-term usage of that phone. So that kind of thing. So it was not anything mind-blowing, but, possibly poking holes in.
All part of it. All right, Cara, very, very interesting. As you said, you have no idea what's coming today.
Yes, no, I really don't.
Wow.
I wish I had taken better notes last trial of all the different witnesses coming in the line, but
Yeah, who'd have thought you'd be right back in there for trial number 2? You never thought you'd be there for that. So,
no,
all right.
Nope, definitely didn't.
Very interesting. You watch it all on Spectrum News. And, Cara, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right, we'll break and come back at WIBX.